Hi everyone, this is David Wicks, your instructor for EDTC 6433, Teaching with Technology, and I appreciate all the feedback that students have been providing on maybe how they're not understanding something, or maybe there's a place in the course that could be designed differently. And so I've taken that advice and I've made some modifications. Hopefully not with the goal of confusing anyone else, but definitely with the goal of making sure that everyone understands what it is they're supposed to be doing in the course. I want you to be able to focus on the content of the course and not how to navigate it or being concerned about when things are due. And by the way, there is, just by nature, in an online course, many people have this feeling that that they're isolated, that they're the only one who doesn't get something, and so I appreciate those of you that have been willing to communicate, because that's how I know that it isn't as clear as I would hope for it to be. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the modifications that I've made so that hopefully you will understand the course better. So let's just go into information, and within information I've updated the syllabus, and I changed the name of the second document, which before was called something like syllabus table. And I updated that document, and then I updated the schedule. So I think by doing all three of these, I'm going to make them much more clear. I think for you then, you'll probably, if you've marked up on those documents, okay, then you maybe want to keep them, but otherwise you'll want to have these three documents. These are the most current versions, and they're going to give you the most accurate information about the course. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the syllabus first. Okay, so I've opened the syllabus here, and really the only change that I've made here has to do with the projects. And what I did was just clarified how the projects are set up. So we have 5 projects, and each of the 5 projects is related to a standard. So our e-reader project, which we're just doing a part of it each week, is related to the first ISTE standard. And so just so it's very clear, you'll find that in documents and underneath standard 1, weeks 1 and 2. That's where you'll find that document. There's been a few people who have missed points on their e-reader Prensky blog posts, and from my looking at your post, it's not clear that you've looked at that document and know what you're supposed to address each time. So make sure you take a look at that again and look through the list of items that are supposed to be within each post. Okay, then the second project is this Quest Garden project, which is underway now. You'll find that in the week 3 and 4, the standard 2 folder, and so on down the line. Now, not all of these have been released yet, so this is where they'll be when they are released. Okay, so that's really all that's different in there. So let's go back to information, and let's take a look at this ISTE standards alignment document. Okay, when this document comes up, let me make it a little smaller here, and actually I'm going to change, there we go. There we can see it all at one time. So what I realized about this after lots of feedback from students was I'd actually turned this document into a second schedule document, and that wasn't my intent. I thought I was being helpful by including dates on it and point values, but I think that just confused people into thinking that they had two different schedule documents to look at. And not only that, but then I had the dates different on the two documents, so that made it even more confusing. So the whole purpose of this document is for you to see what activities we're doing and how they relate to the standards. Okay, so they're not necessarily, these are just explaining what the different points are in this particular one. So you know, here are the standards in the weeks that they'll be covered. Here's some of the activities that we'll be doing, some examples, some presentations, and then some of the topics that'll be covered, and then finally these are the actual assessments. And I'm noticing right now that the headings are missing from this document, so I'm going to have to replace it one more time. I'm not sure how I lost the headings in there, but I'll make sure that those are back in hopefully before you take a look at it. But anyway, so now when you look at this document, what you should be seeing is more of what we're doing to cover each of these standards and the approximate time frame that we'll be doing those activities in, rather than looking at this as any kind of schedule document. And then the other piece that you should hopefully see is that this might be a place to get clues on what types of resources to look for. For example, as you're working on your week 3 resources, you can see things like smart boards, data projectors, document cameras. So if you can find resources related to those, there's a lot of smartboard blog posts or templates for smartboard activities that are out and available. So if that's something that's of interest, those would be possible resources you would find. Okay, so I think that gives you some information about this document. Again, I'll make sure the headings are in it when it's in its final version. And then the third one is the schedule. So hopefully I've clarified the schedule a bit here as well. So if we look at the schedule, it looks somewhat the same. I kept the weeks and the standards that are being covered there. That's all still the same. This indicates the readings that you have in Blackboard and when you should be doing those. So during the first week of each standard is when you should look through the websites and the readings there. And I'm not necessarily saying you have to read all of the articles word for word, but you should skim through them and see what kind of information might be valuable to you as a teacher. And then the resource sharing, I clarified this by saying that these are done on the discussion board. So I mean, every week you're posting the discussion board. In odd number weeks, you're sharing a resource. In even number weeks, you're responding to someone else's resource. Okay, so that should be clarified now. The next is just talking about when you should have the readings done for the Prensky book. So those are listed in there. And then the Thursday Night Live, which is optional to attend, but it's not optional to watch. So some of the questions that have been asked on the discussion board recently lead me to believe that possibly people have not watched it yet. So I think it's a good habit to get yourself into to review what we've covered on that, because I know some of you can't attend live, and that's okay, but your classmates are asking important questions, and so I want to make sure that you realize that those questions that they asked, they won't always get repeated anywhere else, so you do need to watch those recordings. And then the projects, I changed this so that hopefully it's more clear that I made the e-reader, it is a project, but it's a project that you have a part of it due each week. So every week in the projects, there is an e-reader blog post that's due, and it specifies that now. And then it also shows you when the other projects are due. So for example, I've made a modification. There's been some questions about the Quest Garden project. February 6th was the day for the draft, and I'm moving that to February 21st. That'll give us a little more time. There's some people that have already finished that project or already finished their draft. Again, the key to that is it's a 30-day trial for the software. So once you start that, you have 30 days to finish it. And I'm letting you go till the end of the quarter to turn in the final version of it. But if you want me to look at your draft, I need to see that by February 21st. That's what I would prefer. And if you want to say that's your final version, that's okay too. I can give you a grade early on that. And the other, I think, important, or there's maybe a few more dates I should go over in this column. So the project that's going to be discussed this Thursday in Thursday Night Live, tomorrow, the day after this recording, which today is February 2nd, so the February 3rd version of Thursday Night Live is the Explain a Technology group project or group website. So I'll be going over that tomorrow night. So please make sure I've sent you a message now letting you know how to find out who's in your group, and so you'll hopefully be able to check in with that, and also go to the place in the course where it explains the group project, and come prepared to ask questions about that. And then I'm also will be starting then what will end up being the final project is what's called a 30 goal challenge. And the way this is going to work, it's actually a project for teachers called the 30 goal challenge. Teachers all over the world are doing it. And I think in our case, some of you, the 30 goals may be perfect. You may want to try to do a goal a day over the last 30 days of our course. For others of you, because of your schedule, whatever situation you're in, that it may not work. So what I'm going to do instead is give you some options on that. And so I'm going to say, that you can contract to do so many of those. And I'm not going to say that 30 is an A and 25 is a B or anything like that. But we'll just work that out so that people get a taste of what that's about. And then if they want to go back and do all 30 goals later, they could, or just leave it as it is. Then the other project is this digital citizenship handout. I'll go over that later. That project should be one that could be completed in an hour or two, with you just thinking through some issues that we'll talk about later. But it's not a huge project, and it's an individual project, so it should work out fine. Then let's see, I think that's pretty much it. It does now say give a deadline here for the final Quest Garden project. So I've got a lot of stuff that you can get me by the 20th. And I'm assuming for many of you, you're going to want to do it sooner than that, that you're not going to want to wait till the 20th to get me those things. But I want to be flexible. I want to give a few days after the quarter ends officially, so that those of you that are just slammed with work maybe could take a few days to finish off some of those. But by no means am I encouraging anyone to wait until the day before to do all those projects, because I don't think that would work out so well for you. That would be a lot to do. So please try to just work at them gradually, but I also want to give you time, and if there's any other extensions you need, just communicate with me, because I'm not trying to overwhelm you with this content, but I do want to make sure that we give you thorough coverage of the standards and topics related to the standards. With that said, I think we have it all here. So have a great rest of your week. Talk to you soon. Bye.